I appreciate all of you coming today. For those who don't know me, I'm Victoria Rubio, the Public Information Officer here at the Police Department. Today, we are here to share some more information with you regarding an arrest in a 2002 murder. On October 13th, 2002, Miss Betty Moore was found dead in her home on Coltrane Avenue. Thanks to our diligent and committed detectives, we made an arrest last week. Ricky Cox is charged with second-degree murder. In just a moment, you are going to hear from a few people. Some of you may have received an email from me this morning with their names and spellings. If you do not have that, please see me after and I'll get you that information. First, you will hear from Chief Curtis Cheeks III. Then you will hear from Detective Dan Sellers with our Violent Crimes Unit. He is the detective who brought this case to a close. You will also hear from Miss Amy Solomon Russell. She is the daughter of Miss Betty Moore. We will leave time for questions at the end. Please keep in mind we will not be able to share many specifics about the case or investigation. The reason being we must protect the integrity of this investigation as we work toward a successful prosecution. And I will invite Chief Cheeks up.
Good morning. First, I'd like to tell you thank you to each of you for attending this morning. It's not often we get attention on an incident or a case that has this amount of time or age on it. But I think what you'll hear about here in just a moment is an example of the time and attention and detail that our detectives put forth in these investigations. A lot of times it can be frustrating for families, especially when time goes on and goes by, but these cases are not often forgotten by the men and women that work these cases. Today, in particular, we will appreciate the efforts of Detective Sellers, but many cases that come across the desk of our Violent Crimes Unit, like I said, it can seem like they are forgotten or lost, but these individuals do not forget about those cases. I'm grateful as the Chief of Police that we can bring closure to this case and provide at least some level of comfort and answers to Ms. Moore's daughter. It doesn't change the incident or change what happens, but one of the things that we strive for here as a police agency is to be able to provide those answers and bring that justice to families who suffer tragic losses. At this time, I'll ask Detective Sellers to come forward and provide some more information related to this investigation.
Thank you, Chief. My name is Dan Sellers. I'm a detective with the Violent Crimes Unit. We are committed to solving homicides, whether they are brand new or several decades old. We never forget. Sometimes these cases take time. Sometimes they take reevaluation. Sometimes they just take new approaches. But we stay committed to following the evidence wherever they lead. I'd like to acknowledge retired Detective Mark McNeil for his contribution to this case, in which he identified a very strong suspect. Unfortunately, he didn't have the probable cause needed at the time to make an arrest. Last year, I was asked to review hits from a DNA database regarding this case, along with several others, and found the hit regarding this case was basically erroneous to this specific investigation. However, through my review of this case, I found that the original investigators had identified a very strong suspect in Ricky Dean Cox. I was able to follow up and find that Mr. Cox had subsequently been arrested and incarcerated on another crime and served nearly 2 decades. But at that time, Mr. Cox was a free man. Was no longer in DOC custody. So I developed a strategy to interview Mr. Cox. In October and November of last year, my supervisor and I met with Mr. Cox twice, and he was very cooperative. And through those conversations, we were able to gain new information, which led the investigation further and ultimately to a criminal charge of second-degree murder. I think this is a good example of a case solved not by DNA or new technology, but by just a new approach, new set of eyes. Cold cases are something that I'm very passionate about. At this time, we don't have a dedicated investigator for cold cases as their primary focus here at the police department. But I've been able to investigate a few of these cases alongside my regularly assigned cases. And I'm also assessing and inventorying all of our cold cases at the moment to evaluate their solvability and identify cases where we can make progress. So with that said, I'd like to invite up Miss Amy Solomon Russell, the daughter of Betty Moore.
Most of all, good morning. I want to say that I thank God that because my mother was a woman of God that He killed. My grandma wasn't here to get closure because she died last year, but they both beside me, so we're able to get closure. I'm so ever thankful for Him because 2 years ago I called back about my mother and they still didn't have nothing. So now we got closure. We are very thankful. We are very humble. We're thankful what the police department did. It took some time, but we've been blessed. And for that, I cannot say nothing else. Thank you.
At this time, we will take questions. The one thing I ask is if you will let us know who your question is directed, we'll bring them back to the podium. Paul?
Ms. Solomon. Ms. Solomon, did you ever expect this case to be solved, or did you think it would stay a cold case?
I thought it would stay cold. After 21 years, he finally, what they did, the technology, the everything, he came forward, and I'm thankful. I hope and pray that he get his life together because my mama was a woman of God. I pray that he understand the process of what he done and others, because there's others cold cases out here that need help to bring somebody else in to get closure.
Can you tell us about your mother?
Great woman of God, mighty, mighty soldier. Couldn't ask for a better woman of Christ. Always helping someone, always doing things that I wouldn't do, but she did it anyway. She said God had a calling and she was going to help her people, and that's what she did.
How do you get through these last 24 years, these last 20 plus years without your mom and not having closure until now?
A lot of praying, a whole lot of praying. A lot of praying to my father that who would take a good woman like this. And God did it. He took care of us. He took care of my grandmother. My grandma died this year. And I'm sorry she's not here to see it, but she's right here with me to see that we got closure together.
And how did this moment of closure make you
Excited, blessing, very, very excited. I don't have to worry about getting that phone call to say, we haven't found your mother. This is the great blessing for us. This is great because, like I said, this year, my grandma been gone a year. So, oh yeah, we've been truly blessed, and I'm thankful.
Ms. Solomon, did she know the man who killed her?
No, she had no clue. We had no clue at all. Only thing we know that she always asked people, if somebody needed some extra money to help, she always helped them.
Solomon, 24 years ago, it's a long time.
I was 36 years old.
What have you accomplished since then?
I've been in the nursing field over 30 years. I've been blessed to have great opportunities to do good for myself. So we've made it. We've done well, so I'm thankful.
I have a question for the detective. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you.
Sarah, we hear about cases like this all the time where, obviously, the detective before you worked as hard as they could to try to bring that closure to the family, to the department. What is it about the fresh eyes and the fresh perspective that really helps in cases like this?
I think in this case, there was also the added factor of time, the time that had passed. I think that was also a factor on the suspect himself. Outside of that, I really can't get into too many details.
Did the suspect make mistakes when you did the interviews with him? Did he incriminate himself in very specific ways?
The best I can say is there was new information obtained from our conversations. Outside of that, I can't go into any further detail about those conversations or interviews.
And may I also ask, is he the sole suspect, or is there any indication that there will be any future arrests in the case?
Yes, he is the sole suspect of this crime.
So you say that it was really just the re-interviewing of that suspect. Were there just inconsistencies with his previous interviews, or was there an admission of some sort?
There were other investigative steps that were taken in this case, but Ricky Dean Cox is no longer just a suspect. In this case, he's also a defendant now, which means he's entitled to a fair trial. And part of my responsibility as a detective is to maintain the integrity of the details of this case for a potential trial. So unfortunately, I can't share any further details about what was said in an interview with him.
What does this do for your morale, other detectives' morale, morale of maybe the whole department, the police department as a whole, to have something like this go cold, come back, and you got it, you have your suspect, you're going to a trial with it after so long? What does that do for just the morale overall?
Maybe the chief would be a better person to ask this to, but I hope that it shows people that these types of cases are worth investigating.
What did it mean to you to hear her words and Ms. Solomon Russell's words, and how much it meant to her, what you did for her?
It meant the world to me.
Is there a motive?
That would, again, fall under the
Yeah.
other details, unfortunately. Sorry.
Detective, could you please provide any detail about how Ms. Wood died?
It's been determined by the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner that the manner of death was through asphyxiation.
Chief Cheeks, can I ask a quick question of you? How rare is it to solve a case after 24 years? Is this getting in the realm of extremely rare?
Well, oftentimes that group's their primary goal is 48 hours or less. That makes for great TV, but it's not always the outcome. So many times they do make charges or make arrests in these types of cases. It takes a little bit of time again to put everything together for the area of probable cause. But in this instance, you see a case that drew on a couple decades. One of the things about our violent crimes unit, you've got a group of individuals who take their job very seriously. They're dedicated to what they do day in and day out. And so whether it's a new case that they're tasked with investigating, they're also looking at, how do they help and tie those things together. So their goal, I'm sure they would all tell you, is to make an immediate arrest, but they also know that they have to see it through prosecution as well. And that what oftentimes is what adds the time to it. Our previous detective had a very strong suspect, but reaching that point of probable cause, not just to make a charge, but to make sure that there's a charge that can be followed through to adjudication. So that's their goal. Their goal is, again, not just to make an arrest, but to make sure that when it goes to court, when it goes to trial, that person can be held responsible, because the heartbreak for a family to go through those initial steps and not see that complete closure would make that crime even worse.
I have another question for the detective. I'm sorry to have you keep going up.
Thank you.
Just some context for viewers here. I know that you shared the cause of death, but can you kind of explain the scene you know, where officers found her that night, what happened leading up to it?
Ms. Moore was found at home. She did not come to church that Sunday, as she was expected, and was found in her home, I believe the following day or later that day, by friends and family.
And we'll take 2 more questions if anyone has one.
Deb Seller, you said that you guys use a new approach, you know, without DNA or technology. How will this help you guys identify these type of cases moving forward?
Identifying these types of cases moving forward, I'm working on assessing all of our cold cases currently, hoping to use a solvability matrix to identify which cases have a higher potential to be solved.
Again, that's in light of this case being brought to a resolution.
Sure, yeah.
Detective, was there any evidence of robbery?
That would be another detail that I can't give at this point.
Thank you.